Let's talk about something we don't discuss enough, trauma, and its deep, often overlooked connection to incarceration. Here's a startling fact. Over 80% of incarcerated individuals have experienced some form of trauma in their lives. Think about that for a second. That's a staggering number, a number that should make us pause and reflect. It means the vast majority of people behind bars are carrying deep emotional wounds that are often invisible but profoundly impactful. These wounds often go unaddressed, leaving folks vulnerable and more likely to end up back in the system, perpetuating a cycle of pain and punishment. These traumatic experiences can range from physical or sexual abuse to witnessing violence or experiencing neglect, each leaving a unique mark. Imagine growing up in a home where violence is commonplace, where fear is a daily companion, or where basic needs like food and shelter are uncertain, creating a constant state of anxiety and insecurity. These experiences leave lasting scars, both visible and invisible. They can shape a person's worldview, their ability to trust others, and their capacity to cope with stress in healthy ways. Now, picture this. Someone who has endured years of abuse gets caught up in a fight and ends up in jail, a place that often exacerbates their trauma. Instead of receiving counseling or therapy to address the root causes of their behavior, they're met with punishment and isolation, further deepening their wounds. Their trauma is ignored and the cycle continues, unbroken and relentless. This is the harsh reality for far too many people trapped in our justice system, a system that often fails to see the person behind the crime. Prisons, by their very nature, can be re-traumatizing places. The loss of freedom, the constant surveillance, the strip searches, the isolation from loved ones. These experiences can mirror past traumas and exacerbate existing mental health conditions. The very environment is designed to break down the human spirit. Imagine being stripped of your clothes, your belongings, your very identity. Every personal item taken away, every piece of individuality erased. It's dehumanizing, and for someone who's already been through hell, it can be absolutely debilitating. The psychological toll is immense. Then there's the constant threat of violence. Prisons are often overcrowded and understaffed, leading to an environment where violence is a fact of life. The lack of resources only adds to the chaos. Inmates are forced to navigate a complex social hierarchy, always on guard, never knowing when the next threat might arise. Trust is a rare commodity. This constant state of stress and fear only deepens the wounds of trauma. The mind is in a perpetual state of alert. It's like trying to heal a broken leg while running a marathon. The body and mind are pushed to their limits. The conditions themselves make it nearly impossible to recover. The environment is not conducive to healing, but rather to further suffering. Our current justice system often relies on punishment as the primary response to crime. We lock people up, throw away the key, and hope for the best, believing that isolation will deter future crimes. But here's the thing. Punishment alone doesn't address the underlying issues that lead to criminal behavior, such as poverty, lack of education, and mental health struggles. In fact, it often makes things worse by creating environments where violence and hopelessness thrive. Think of it like this. If someone is drowning, you don't just throw them an anchor and tell them to swim harder. That would be cruel and ineffective. You throw them a life preserver, something that can actually help them stay afloat. You pull them out of the water and help them recover, ensuring they have the support they need to heal. That's what we need to do with people who are struggling with trauma and mental health issues, offering them real solutions and support. When we focus solely on punishment, we ignore the fact that many crimes are rooted in desperation, addiction, or a cry for help, which only exacerbates the problem. Instead of addressing these underlying causes, we perpetuate a cycle of harm that ultimately makes our communities less safe and more divided.